Hi, my name's Roger. I'm going to be doing a few short videos for the Extinction Rebellion people about, well, this one's going to be about roadblocks. So, first of all, a disclaimer. This video is not saying anyone should go and do a roadblock. If you want to go and do it, then that's up to you. I'm just going to tell you like some of the information about how to do it, some of the nitty-gritty information, I guess. So, I've been involved in a pollution campaign in London, which involved about 20 roadblocks. And during those 20 roadblocks, we sort of organised how to do it. So it was safe for us, safe for the public, and okay for the police, as it were. So, first of all, obviously you've got to choose where you're going to do the block, and it always needs to be where there's traffic lights. So the traffic lights turn to red, and then everyone goes onto the crossing, sits down, puts out the banner, and makes it clear to the traffic that you're not going to go anywhere. Sitting down is the way to do that. Okay, so what?
The noise is one sec.
So one of the key things, maybe the key thing, is calming down the drivers. Okay, so this is probably the most important thing I'm going to say, which is you want to bring with you some food to offer to the drivers. So you have someone that looks respectable, some older respectable person, they walk down between the cars, apologise for the delay, and offer them some cookies or something like that. Now, most people obviously won't accept it, but the psychology is that if someone offers you something, it's very, very difficult for them to be aggressive, and you can guarantee they will be aggressive. So that's a really effective way of calming them down. The other way of doing it is to have a big banner which says, "Extremely sorry for the delay, it's political, non-violent protest, bear with us, we'll be gone in a few minutes," or whenever you are going to be gone. Okay, so yeah, the other thing is dealing with the police. Okay, so our experience is in London, dealing with the Metropolitan Police, and again, the psychology involved in this is if you go up to the police and talk to them in a civil way, then the odds are they'll calm down because they're not quite sure what's happening when they arrive on the scene. So there's two key phrases that we use. You go up to the police, and so obviously someone has to have that job, and they go, "This is a non-violent, peaceful protest. This is a non-violent, peaceful protest." And that usually makes them frame it into not some aggressive sort of thing. The second thing you say is, "We totally respect that you have to do your job here. We totally respect that you have to do your job." And that will usually get them into a conversation with you, and you don't need to give away any sensitive information, obviously, but you can get into some sort of small talk about what the situation is in the city and what have you. And they like that because it makes an easy day. Okay, so I'm just going to go through like 3 or 4 ways you can block roads, okay? And they've got their pros and cons. So obviously the classical way of blocking a road is you block a road, you sit down there, the police come. In London, they tend not to arrest you for at least 40 minutes or an hour. They'll try and persuade you to get back up. So if you're looking for getting arrested, which has got its pros and cons, then obviously that's the name of the game. You just sit there and say, "We're going to sit here because of whatever reason you're saying, and if you need to arrest us, then so be it," and to say that calmly. A second scenario is, and this is particularly a good idea if there isn't any police, because once the police arrive, they'll tend to calm the traffic anyway, so it'll get between you and the traffic, because the police's main objective here is like public order rather than enforcing the law about you sitting in the road, at least in London. Okay, so another idea is to what we call 7 minutes off, 7 minutes on, 2 minutes off. So you're sitting in the road for 7 minutes, and then the lights change to red, and someone shouts, "Everyone off," everyone gets off the road. The lights change to green, and the traffic starts moving through. Okay, and then the lights change back to red. As soon as they change back to red, you go back onto the road and sit down. So the advantage of this is the first 20, 40 meters of cars are let through, and they're the drivers that are really pissed off because they're the people that then know what's happening. The people further back just think it's another traffic jam. So then you get a new, fresh lot of people. You can give them cake, be nice to them, calm them down, tell them it'll only be 7 minutes, and that will be the case. And in terms of the mathematics, as it were, of grinding, like creating a gridlock in a city, being off the road for 2 minutes is neither here nor there. Most of the locking down that you're going to do, as it were, is going to be done in the first 10 minutes. So we've done that for like an hour or so with the police present. We get on the road and get off the road. Okay. So leading onto a more sort of dramatic situation, if lots of people decided they wanted to close down a city for whatever reason, I'm not going to go into that, but let's say there was a dramatic reason to close down a city, then you might want to look at what's called swarming. So swarming is basically where you sit in the road and you sit there until the police arrive. And when the police are about to arrest you, obviously they're going to bluff. So when they drag the first person off, as it were, then everyone gets up calmly. No one should ever run. And you could disappear down into the tube, onto a bus. You go around the corner and you sit down again. So the logic of this approach is that you don't want to get people arrested because you need to have them on the street to block another road. So you don't need to worry about getting up from the road, because as we know, if you block a road for 10 or 15 minutes, you've more or less done the deal anyway. So there's no big problem about getting up, going around the corner and blocking another road. If you get to an even more dramatic situation, another swarming tactic is to have people at the end of the road. You go and sit on the road, and when the police arrive, as soon as people see them arrive, you can have a scout at the end of the road, let's say, and when the police arrive, then everyone gets up before the police get there, on the assumption the police are going to drag people off straight away because you've got a national crisis or something, and that's their new instructions. Then everyone gets off the road, disappears into the crowd, and then reconvenes. Obviously, I haven't mentioned this so far, but each group needs to have a coordinator, or ideally 2 coordinators, who tells everyone what to do. Another last scenario is to go onto a crossing when the lights are at red, and you have 50 people, let's say, go along the crossing. When they get across the crossing, they turn around and go back across the crossing. And then when the lights go to green, you carry on doing it. So in Britain, my understanding is it's illegal for the cars to move forward if there's loads of people on the crossing. So the advantage of that, of course, is that when the police arrive, they won't really know who's a tourist, who's a normal person, and who you are. So it'd be very difficult for them to decide who to pull off the road. So in between all those three or four sort of tactics, you've got a recipe there for causing major economic disruption, if you think it's morally justified to do so, which isn't the subject of this video. So my last little thing is, obviously, if everyone understands this in the swarming, you don't actually need to have a centre. You don't need to have it being instructed. Everyone just follows basic rules. Block the roads. When the police come, get up, be pleasant to the drivers, be pleasant to the police, disappear into the crowd, find somewhere else, reconvene, and block the road. You do that for day after day, and you're probably looking at regime change.